going to call this meeting of the ISD Board of Education to order. Welcome, everyone. It's really nice to see so many in the audience today. Welcome and Happy New Year. Tonight's first item of business is the approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. We do not have any requests of district citizens or employees to speak this evening, so we're going to move on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion. Second. We have a first and second. Dr. Grace.
All right, we have bills for the month totaling $13,622,648.25 as printed. We are up from last year, and this would be due to furniture purchases, concrete repairs throughout the district, the Glendale roof repairs, Herndon Career Center payment, middle school football, field turf behind Bingham, so we have a turf there that's going on, and then the flooring at Sycamore payment. So you've heard about the issues going on at Sycamore, so that's finished, and they have a new floor there, and it looks great, and all of that was paid out of the current budget. And then approval to let bids for asphalt and concrete repairs district-wide. This would come from Capital. And approval to let bids for renovations of the classrooms at Van Horn High School, and this would be contingent upon the bond. So that is what we have for consent.
What would the classrooms be at Van Horn, just a general?
So great question. Those would be our program classrooms, looking at a renovation over there. We continue to see our special education populations increase with enrollment, so we need to be prepared to meet those needs. Thank you for that.
I just want to mention that I really appreciate how forward-thinking the district is in the budgeting process, so that there are things that we can do every year as a part of capital and budget. And then the fact that we're looking at this bond will allow us to do large projects, but the budget allows us to get some of that maintenance and stay up to date on that. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next item of business is the leader in lead presentations. Oh, I'm sorry, superintendent report. Go ahead, Dr. Green.
Thank you. This year was, or is, our MSIP 6 2.0, I like to call it, review. And so we were required to submit our documentation at the end of December. Special thanks to Dr. Boatwright and all of the departments and buildings for their work to help support this process. It's a pretty big process, collecting all of that information, making sure it's all in alignment with our comprehensive school improvement plan, which it was unique this year because the evaluation of MSIC is based on our old CSIP, and we just approved a new CSIP, so we're kind of going in between both of those. So great work there. And we look forward to hearing back later this spring regarding our submissions, so what that looks like. Over winter break, numerous facilities projects were completed across the district by our vendors, allowing important upgrades to be made with minimal disruption to students and staff. Thank you to Mr. McGee and his team for coordinating and overseeing all of this work. At Mallinson, a wall was added to the library to create an additional classroom for the reading specialist, and the former reading teacher room was converted to a new program classroom to, like I discussed before, expanding needs there. Hanthorn extended sidewalks on the outside to connect the front and side entrances, improving safety and accessibility. At Van Horn, permanent walls were installed between a couple of classrooms, replacing temporary dividers. It was amazing to me as we go in different buildings how many temporary walls have been put up throughout the district. Sycamore, we completed the Summerazzo flooring in the hallways and replaced cabinets and countertops in the pods. They look amazing if you get an opportunity to look at those. Pioneer Ridge, we updated the gym main bleachers and went to navy. We switched colors a few years back, however the bleachers were still pretty purple. So now they're blue and match the color scheme over at Pioneer. For the rebranding, new varsity locker rooms were installed at Truman and Chrisman, and to support unified track in the field coming Becoming an official sport this spring, throwing areas at Van Horn and Chrisman were made handicap accessible. Truman was already compliant. Mill Creek received new LED lighting and ceiling grids. Here at CO, we had several upgrades, including new entrance concrete, the Wellness Center flooring, Samarazzo flooring in the basement. Additional projects included, these are exciting, grease trap replacements at Proctor and Bryant, and new LBT flooring at Parents as Teachers Classroom at Sunshine. So a lot of things going on. We're excited that we were able to complete those over winter break and have those ready to go. We also received notification from DESE that the district has been selected to participate in a Methods of Administration, MOA, Career and Technical Education, CTE, compliance review. This is a federal review that the state is having to go through. This is an extensive review that will require multiple departments to work together to complete everything that is required by the state as well as the federal government, and it will entail an on-site visit. So this will need to be submitted to DESE no later than February 13th. So we have a lot left to do, but I know we're up for it. And then I do want to take just a second to reiterate the processes and procedures that if a situation arises when a parent or guardian is detained or arrested, with everything that is going and seen in the media today specifically, law enforcement, including ICE, cannot enter a school property without a valid warrant. District protocols require principals to request and verify proper documentation before granting access. All staff, family school liaison, administrators, resource officers are expected to comply with the law. If law enforcement of any kind appears at the school, the public safety officer, their supervisor, and district leadership must be notified immediately to ensure correct procedures are followed. So we're going to work collaboratively on that. If a family member is detained for any reason, existing emergency contact procedures will be used to ensure student safety and care. This process applies to all situations where a guardian cannot pick up a student, or not solely to immigration situations related matters. So that's kind of where we are. And the legislative session has begun. There have been over 2,097 bills filed. We're a week into session.
That's just the ones that deal with education.
Nope,
That's total.
that's total. That is good. I'm going to talk about that in a second. So, great question. No, 496 of those bills will deal with or impact public education. Topics such as removal of the state income tax, property taxes, as well as school choice and or open enrollment were highlighted to begin this legislative session. And if you have the opportunity to listen to the State of the State, those items were specifically addressed in the State of the State by Governor Kehoe. So we will continue to monitor this legislative session as it progresses, and I will provide you all updates as we move forward. So that is what I have for our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Grant. Any discussion?
I had a question on, you said the track facilities were being updated for an event that's being added. Can you talk just a little bit more about that?
Unified track and field, so that would be paraplegic track and field, handicap accessibility for that. That's being added. I was just made aware of that. Yeah.
Okay. We'll move on to new business. Our first item is the Leader in Me presentation. Dr. Grant?
All right, we have had presentations regarding AVID for our middle school level and our academies at the high school level, and we would like to share an update regarding Leader in Me at the elementary level. This actually came from an inquiry from Director Puente last month, so I thought it would be good to share this with everyone this evening. So I will introduce to you Dr. Kevin Latham.
So if you have questions at the end of this, I brought 5 of my friends, so correct those. They were the ones that were clapping. They think they're funnier than they are sometimes, but I appreciate them being here. So good evening, board. It is my pleasure to be with you this evening and present an update on the status of Leader in Me and the Independent School District. Tonight's presentation aligns with Area 1 of our CSIP plan for academic achievement, specifically Goal 1.3, implement effective research-based instructional strategies across the district in an effort to eliminate achievement gaps. 1.3.1-5 specifically states implement and refine Leader in Me across the elementary level by providing a timeline expectations and professional development, advancing all elementary schools to Core 3 achievement by 2028. In addition, Area 4 of our CSIP involves parent community involvement. The Leader in Me program, along with AVID and the academies, speaks specifically to deepen community partnerships among diverse groups. So, like Dr. Grant said, we have the academy models at the high schools, we have AVID at the middle schools, and Leader in Me implementation ranging across kind of phase 1, 2, and 3, in addition to our 2 lighthouse schools at all 20 of our elementary schools. Leader in Me is a whole school framework for leadership, academics, and culture. It integrates leadership development with academics and social emotional learning. It's built on research-based principles, including the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, written by Stephen Covey. It's based on the See, Do, Get model, the 3 of change. And I like this quote in preparation of the board presentation tonight. I came across this and wanted to share that with you. So from Leader in Me, it says that when you change the way you see things, it influences what you do and the results that you get. You're definitely going to want to pay attention to slide 7 tonight when we go over the 7 habits, because there is going to be a quiz at the end of this presentation. So just a hint, slide 7 is going to be really important. Leader in Me training is designed as a multi-year growth process that builds adult capacity first, then expands to students, systems, and sustainability. Schools move from learning to practicing to embedding to sustaining, all with coaching and data guidance along each stage of the process. The core beliefs that drive the work of Leader in Me, there are 5 paradigms. There's lots of numbers embedded with Leader in Me. You think there are 7 habits, but now there's actually 8. There's 5 core paradigms, so kind of all the numbers of 1 through 8. And I wasn't going to say the numbers between 5 and 8 for this presentation, but they're in there. But the 5 core paradigms are leadership, which is everyone can be a leader, potential, everyone has genius, change, which starts with me, motivation, which is to empower students to lead their learning, education, where educators and families partner to develop the whole person, and these paradigms apply to both students and staff. With Leader in Me in schools, it's implemented, again, here's one of our numbers, through 6 highly effective practices across leadership, culture, and academics. Leadership is taught, modeled, and practiced daily. Student, staff, families, and community members all have roles, and it aligns with existing school improvement and instructional initiatives. There's lots of data that comes with Leader in Me, and this is just a snapshot of the MRA results. So you see that red graph, that green graph, that blue graph, and those are each school's MRA results. So we take this assessment annually in the spring. It's completed by students, staff, and families, and it is a component of each school improvement plan. Under just that leadership, that red column there, you see that it is staff leadership, and then there are 2 other circles next to it. So just under staff leadership, it gives us feedback from all of our stakeholders on staff leadership, including personal effectiveness and interpersonal effectiveness. And then that next circle over, which you'd have to toggle over to see, it talks about student leadership on personal development, positive well-being, and self-advocacy. And then it gets into family and community engagements, digging into school and family partnership, family engagement, and school and community engagement. Under the green umbrella, it's looking at supportive staff environment. Again, if you toggle over, you get to see feedback on support environment for students. And then finally, that blue one is the academics. So it's looking at empowering students or empowering teachers, empowering learners, and then goal achievements. So each year, buildings and lighthouse teams really get to dig into the results of what their students are saying, what their staff are saying, what their parents are saying, and that helps guide their plans for the following school year. So this is where you guys need to pay attention. These are the 7 habits. So for existing board members, if you guys recall, Ms. Hochsprung presented on the Leader in Me process 2 years ago. And so these are 7 habits. Just a quick reminder, habit 1 is to be proactive. Habit 2 is to begin with the end in mind. Habit 3, put first things first. Habit 4, think win-win. Habit 5, seek first to understand, then be understood. Habit 6 is to synergize. Habit 7, sharpen the saw. And habit 8, find your voice and inspire others to find yours. As the board may recall, Dr. Grant utilized the book Speed of Trust, also written by Stephen Covey during our administrative retreat back in July to kick off the school year. We revisited that during professional development this morning, and several principals and directors in the room talked about Habit 5 and the importance of listening first. So that speaks to not only are these important skills for our students in the classroom, but our teachers and our administrators, our directors here. So this was a very timely topic in my presentation today, connecting to the work that Dr. Grant led us in this morning with our principals and our directors. So I think the genesis behind this presentation was just talking about how our schools are progressing. So we have 2 Lighthouse schools. Dr. Laughlin and her work at OTT in 2019 achieved Lighthouse status. The following year, Dr. Carver at Luff also achieved Lighthouse status. Luckily, Ms. Kilbreth and Dr. Beal are carrying on that legacy at both OTT and Luff. In 2022, we had our earliest adopters with Mallinson, Sugar Creek, Proctor. They've gone through the 7 habits, Lighthouse 1 through 3 and Core 1 through 3. Bryant Elementary also kicked off with 7 habits in 2022 and have completed Lighthouse 1 and 2 and Core 1 and 2 with a new leadership. Before progressing to Lighthouse 3 and Core 3, they are revisiting both Core 1 and Core 2 just to make sure with new staff, with the new leadership, they want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. That's one of the great things about Leader in Me is the school is not going to progress until the school is ready. So they are revisiting parts of 1 and 2 before moving on to Core 1 or Core 3. In 2023, Mill Creek, Randall, Santa Fe, Southern, Sycamore, and 3 Trails completed the Lighthouse training, 7 habits, and have completed Lighthouses 1 through 3 and Cores 1 and 2. Castle Park also jumped on board along with Little Blue, and they've completed 7 habits, Lighthouse 1 through 2, Core 1, and are completing Core 2 in second semester. And then Benton, Blackburn, Fairmount, Glendale, and Independence Academy have completed 7 habits, Lighthouse 1 through 2, Core 1, and finally Cordy and Spring Branch have completed 7 habits, Lighthouse 1 and Core 1 are planned for second semester. Some of our schools have done some supplementary trainings, including family engagement and some other supports. A lot of them did that January 5th when we had that PD coming back, and others have planned PD throughout the course of the spring semester. I do want to extend a special shout out to these following people up here. We have 10 Leader in Me facilitators, 2 principals, Dr. Carver and Ms. Kilbreth, 2 district coaches, Ms. Arnott and Ms. Corey, 4 building coaches, Ms. Bennett, Ms. Craig, Ms. Schmidt, and Ms. McGregor, a counselor, Mr. Schmidt, and a district coordinator, a retired principal from OTT, Dr. Laughlin. These staff members are responsible for leading professional development training across 20 of our sites. They pour a lot into our teachers so they can pour into our students. I greatly appreciate their efforts. Finally, we had a site visit. Maria Fleming is our district coordinator. She works for Leader in Me, but she is our consultant and coach. And so just wanted to provide some of the feedback that she saw when she visited 7 schools on December 11th. She saw that the staff is implementing all of the key areas in Core 1, including lessons being delivered at all grade levels and leadership roles throughout the school. She also saw that another school has a significant focus across the school on building student leadership and ownership, and that is paying off in improved student behavior and building culture among staff and students. With the new principal and new Lighthouse coordinator, the school is celebrating that they've set high expectations for Core 1 implementation around the school and are being consistently implemented. And then finally, this school has a strategic focus on extending and expanding school-wide leadership roles. And this year, all 4th and 5th grade students have a role in the school with a goal to expand that in the future. And the schools that she picked were not just first-year schools or first-year principals. She hit a couple of first-year principals and then hit one of our most tenured principals in the district that is going through, I think, Core 2. And so it was kind of a wide range that she got to see, and she was very pleased with the results. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to participate with that day, but Dr. Laughlin and Maria Fleming were very excited about the progress that our schools are making regarding Leader in Me. And then finally, hot off the press, I just got this yesterday, you will be receiving a invitation from Cami regarding the Leader in Community Learning Day at Proctor Elementary. So as I said, Ott and Luff are our lighthouse schools right now, and Proctor was one of our earliest adopters. They are progressing to a formal lighthouse review. So the day that we have our Founders Day breakfast, if you have time, anytime between 8 and 3 o'clock, so after the breakfast, you will all be invited to visit Proctor Elementary. They will have a student leader that will take you on a tour of the building, and that is all in preparation for Ms. Hawley's formal lighthouse review on March 12th. So we are really hoping for a successful day on the Community Learning Day and at her formal review. I would be happy to have you guys ask the 5 comedians in the back any of your questions.
All right, comedians. This is the feedback from Maria states that it's been paying off and improved student behavior and building culture. Do we have data to back that up? And what does that look like?
So I think that data would be as part of the MRA, but we do like to survey all of our stakeholders, and so I think we can layer in our culture and climate survey that just closed out in December. So there are pieces there, and then obviously every school and the district as a whole has behavior data, and so yes. Yep.
Like as they go into Leader in Me, we're able to see that this is likely a cause for improvement.
I don't know that I would say necessarily a direct cause, but as I've been reviewing schools and the district as a whole, just seeing the downward trend of behavior incidents month to month, and then as a total this year compared to last year. So it would be great to attribute it all to Leader in Me, but I also know that our principals and all of our teachers, all of our staff are being very intentional about the behavior supports that we're providing for students.
Last year, when I toured all of the buildings, 2 schools come to mind because I remember that I was given a tour by Leader in Me students, Glendale and Luff, and they were definitely high ranking in my tour because they were the best guides. So that was great, and really great to see how this has impacted their ability to speak to adults and feel comfortable in that realm. And also the kids, they just share more details, so that was really fun. I also wanted to know a little bit about, you said that you just completed the training on family engagement.
Some schools did, not all schools. That's one of the optional trainings, and so in order to progress through, you're looking at the 7 habits, and then Lighthouse 1 through 3, Core 1 through 3, and then there are supplemental ones that are on family engagement. Of course, I left that spreadsheet in the back, but there was probably 4 or 5 schools that have participated in that supplemental training that is that family engagement component.
And is that more towards engaging with parents, like academically, or events outside of the school day? Or?
It would be components connecting the Leader in Me component, so what we're doing at school, bring them home, and then obviously we're always looking to promote and encourage participation and engagement during our family events.
Thank you.
I had a couple of questions. You mentioned that your goal is to work towards Core 3 achievement. Can you remind me what that is?
So that would be the progression. And it goes 7 habits, then Lighthouse, then Core 1, and then you complete that, then you're ready for Lighthouse 2, Core 2. And so with this progression, and hopefully with the schools that started in 24, the end goal would be hopefully to getting to Core 3 at that point, because then that's when you are ready for that formal Lighthouse review to see if we can become a Lighthouse school.
That makes sense. And then the other question is on the MRA, what kind of response rate have you had on those surveys?
So, and this wasn't the best screenshot, but it will actually show, you can set a goal for, like, let's say you want to have 100 parents submit the survey. It will give you a status update of the goal, and so it gives you metrics for staff and for parents as well. And so, unfortunately, this isn't a live look, it's a screenshot, but it will give you the exact numbers of each participant across those 3 areas.
And are you seeing a pretty significant response rate?
That's the nice thing. You can toggle back year to year. And so I was looking at Mallinson, because they were at the top, just alphabetical. And then I also looked at Luff just to see if we could dig back in to previous years. That's some of the work that we do in the spring. We have just a dedicated half-day session for Leader and Me planning for the following year. So that gives the Lighthouse coordinator and the principal the ability to kind of dig into those results and start to make some plans for the next year.
Did you see improvements in those schools?
I haven't dug down into that because I haven't had the experience of the opportunity to experience that review yet. That will come in the spring.
Thanks very much. Really appreciate your presentation. And I'm sorry, let me repeat that. I appreciate your presentation and also the font size on your slideshow.
That's
Nice.
not my personality, but I'm speaking on behalf of elementary, and so I did try to color code it for
Okay, next item of business is the approval to purchase new Chromebooks.
I move that we approve the purchase of the new Chromebooks.
Second. Dr. Stout?
Thank you, President Dixon. Good evening, board members. We typically purchase Chromebooks in March or April for the following school year. However, in December, we were notified that the price of Chromebooks will significantly increase after February 1st. Excuse me. This has to do with current silver shortages and the fact that suppliers are investing more in AI and cutting production of consumer goods. We can purchase these for $269 for the non-touch and $299 for the touch. Dell says the price is unknown, but they think the price could make its way to the mid-300s or even 400s per Chromebook in the very short future. So with that in mind, another tidbit of information real quickly, these Chromebooks will go to the incoming freshman class at all 3 high schools. We're going to also have some extras to provide as spares for the rest of ISD for the upcoming school year. Administration recommends purchasing 1,300 non-touch Chromebooks and 100 touch Chromebooks and Chromebook licenses from CDWG for $421,306 under the Missouri AEPA contract. Happy to answer any questions. Just another quick tidbit of information. Pricing, some of you might be thinking, okay, what does pricing look like in the past? We kind of know what it looks like going in the future. So last year, non-touch was $265, and touch typically runs about another $20, so $285. The year before was $194. And then 2 years previous to that, we were locked in at $219, and then the year previous to that was $169. So we can see that they've kind of made a subtle increase, and we're looking at making a big jump in the very near future, unfortunately. So I appreciate Todd bringing this to my attention. To Denise's point earlier, he does do a very good job with budgeting. This is one of those things we typically bring to you later in the spring, but he's prepared to take that out of his budget. We'll receive those in. If the board approves this, hold on to them, and then his staff will get them ready to deploy them before the school year.
And Dr. Stout, these are Chromebooks that we would have to purchase anyway. We're just getting them sooner because of the anticipated price hike.
Exactly right, sir.
And I can't imagine a few months would make a big difference, but the lifespan of Chromebooks isn't that long. Is there any issue buying them a few months earlier? Any concerns with that?
No, great question, and I know Todd and I visited about that. And part of this equation is the licensure that goes with them, and I think Todd said now, what is it, 7 years?
8.
8 years, so we feel good about that as well.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 3 is the approval of the changes to the Board of Education policies, second reading. Dr. Grant? Oh, no, entertain a motion. Second? Dr. Grant?
All right. This is the second and final reading. The first reading of the policies was outlined last month. I would present to you the second and final reading for those policies that are listed there. C120P, C121P, C140P, G110P, G130P, and I-125P. Thank you for your consideration.
discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 4 is the approval of the superintendent job description.
I move that we approve the superintendent's job description.
Second.
Any discussion?
I had a question. We had spoke last month about the possibility of adding either direct reports or possibly an organization chart to the job description. And I was informed that we were recommended not to do that, so I was just curious what the reasoning and thought process was on that.
Sure. Thank you for that question, Director Pierce. What I would say is that, as you know, and just to make sure you and I are on the same page here, we're talking about the, under personnel administration for the superintendent, the supervise and manage central office staff is the way it's currently worded. And the discussion was, do we delineate further through an organizational chart or otherwise who those folks might be that would fall within the definition of central office staff? What I would say is generally we don't see it well defined because there tend to be a lot of adjustments that get made over time. If we just look at independence as an example, there have been a number of adjustments through, from year to year based on personnel, based on needs of the district, that sort of thing. And so every time you would, if you wanted to make that kind of delineation through an organizational chart, you're basically going to be changing, anytime you change that, they'll make those adjustments that I just described, you're going to be changing your job description for the superintendent. And what I would submit to you is that that's a level of detail that we just don't commonly see in superintendent job descriptions. But if the board wants to delineate exactly who falls within that scope, you can. Part of the reason why I think, and this is supposition on my part, but I think the reason we don't see that is because really everybody falls within the supervision of the superintendent in one fashion, form, or fashion, right? So.
Can you tell me where the organizational chart lives within the district's documentation?
What I would say is that it falls within the superintendent's responsibility to develop that, right? But typically it tends to be maintained by the HR. Dr. Robinson, I don't know if he has an answer whether or not he can readily get his hands on it in HR as we speak, but typically that's what I would see. I don't know the answer for independence piece, so.
And I can speak to that a little bit, that Ms. Smith does have a copy of that in her office so that it is accessible.
Just wonder, would it be appropriate maybe just to reference the organizational chart? Like, it would say something like central office staff as listed on the organizational chart, so that way you don't have it embedded, but it refers that there is one.
Yeah, and I think that, there are a number of different ways we could look at doing that, just attach it to the job description. Obviously, with the board doing its current search, that's part of the drive for having this the way the board wants it. So if you wanted to just kind of provide that documentation to your search firm at the same time, I think that would cover that angle. And then we can talk about, to your point about where it lives, we can make sure that that it stays with the job description. But typically what I see is that once we start working with a particular superintendent, the job description becomes a kind of an ancillary or a secondary thought.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I don't want to make the job description more cumbersome or require constant updates. That's why I was wondering if it may be a reference rather than like attaching it, so.
Yeah. My main concern in incorporating it in it would be that we'd have to come, back to get board approval anytime there's those adjustments. And frankly, I typically would see the superintendent having that authority to make those kinds of adjustments without bringing it back to the board.
So if you attached it, wouldn't that cause you to have that problem?
Not if the language remains the same as what it is in the job description itself. Then it's just going to be referring it, as you said, it's going to be a reference, but it's not necessarily going to be something that's incorporated.
Thank you.
I have often wished that we have one on our website. I mean, I just meet people and I'm like, where do they fit in the organizational chart? And so, something to talk about.
And, I mean, you know, you asked where that lives, that might be a place for it to live. That would make sense to me.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 5 is the approval to accept bid and contract for the Three Trails Elementary School for the replacement of windows.
I make that
Second.
motion, sorry.
And I will turn it over to Dr. Snell.
Thank you. As I'm sure most of you are well aware, the windows at Three Trails are very old. What you're probably not aware of, I wasn't, they were made of plexiglass, which I found interesting. There is leakage with the current windows, and tuck pointing, which is a masonry repair process that involves removing mortar from joints and replacing with new mortar, is necessary surrounding these windows. So the next two action items are kind of in conjunction as a result of that statement right there. We did receive 2 bids for replacement of the windows at Three Trails. We were very happy with one of the numbers that we received. We're asking this evening that the board accept the bid and contract of $546,340 from MJ Construction LLC for the replacement of windows at Three Trails Elementary School. This will come out of the capital budget. This contract was reviewed by our architects along with Greg.
Is there a timeline?
Great question. I was talking to a staff member today. Their plan is to begin the window replacement this summer when it's warmer. It will take some time, but they think it's doable to complete in the summertime. If the next motion is approved, the tuck pointing will begin ASAP. So that's just repairing all the mortar around and the leakage.
Discussion?
They
Oh, that's-
definitely,
go ahead.
sorry. I just want to say they definitely need it, like having been there and seeing the windows move. So it'll be great to have windows that don't move.
Double pane glass would be nice, yes.
I agree. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 6 is the approval to accept bid for, this is the contract for the Three Trails Elementary School and the masonry repair.
I move that we approve that bid.
Second?
And I'm guessing we don't need to discuss this, but does anybody have any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 7 is the certification of the school board candidates for the April 7th, 2026 election.
I move that we accept these candidates, or certify the school board candidates.
Second.
All right, so we have the slate, the Board of Education, school board candidates for the positions that will be filled effective April 7th, 2026, each for a 6-year term. There are 4 patrons in the school district that have met the requirement to serve the Independent School District Board of Education. So we have Jeffrey Jewell, Zachary Harmon McLaughlin, Sarah Wimberly, and Justin Durham.
Just as a reminder, that will be for 2 board positions.
Correct.
4 candidates, 2 positions.
Correct.
When you say met the requirement, so they turned in their petition.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. I will entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session.
I move to adjourn to closed session pursuant to Missouri State Statute for Personnel Issues 610.021 subparagraph 3, Legal Matters 610.021 subparagraph 1, and Students 610.021 subparagraph 6.
Second?
Ms. Smith? Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.